I had them too close to the fence. I've had them reach over, knock it off, and then I guess
you're gonna mess around and get you some of that fence is what's
it'll happen.
I really badly, I can't ever, even when I was a kid, I can't stand it. I want to touch that fence.
I'll tell you how.
But I know how that ends.
And I'll tell you how much sense we've got. I didn't buy a checker until last year.
Is that fence hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Did I tell you I got me a gobbler turkey?
No.
The neighbor over here traded me, just gave them to me, a pair of poult about that big, and
Wild or tame?
found the eggs and incubated them. And the dang hen died. I think they got where they weren't roosting where I had them, and I think an owl got her maybe. But that gobbler is neat. He jumped up in my lap in the lawnmower last night.
Go roost with you?
Just sitting there, let me pet him on his back.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, we going to roost.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, we're up here this afternoon with Justin Lowe, Rural Route Farms. Justin, lions, tigers, and bears, oh my.
It's always something.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
No.
State of Arkansas has become a bear mecca.
It has.
Just because we don't live in the heart of the Ozarks, St. Francis National Forest, off grid, so to speak, the big woods that we think about as far as forest,
Right.
where the bears are supposed to be, their range is now very southern, very pushed
It has widened.
down into Arkansas. With that being said, you've got quite an investment in honeybees, as we all know. Bear fencing has become part of your day-to-day. Tell me a little bit about why, when, what happens when one gets into a yard full of bees like this and this isn't in play. And you notice I'm not.
Right. I wouldn't touch it. So this is actually my home yard. My house is just a couple of 100 yards over the hill there, and lived here for going on 20 years. Never had a bear. Never saw bears up here. And about 3 years ago, that very last pallet down there, I came over here and checked, and there were 2 hives pulled off the pallet and strewn from here to that cedar tree back there. And so I rushed and got a fence put up, and the next night he came back, because that's usually how they do. They'll come in and get some the first night, get a taste of it, and they'll come back every night until there's nothing left. Put this fence up, and the next morning after, you could see where he was wanting to get through that fence. He was pawing the ground trying to get through it, and
so when he came back the next night, you were ready for him.
I had him fenced out for what I hoped was going to work, and it did. He had the ground tore up all around where he wanted to go through that fence, but it was not going to let him without a fight. But
how many? What kind of voltage
So that thing puts out 1 joule, which is a pretty good punch, and that's what I have found. I've talked to other people that have used smaller chargers. They ground them differently. For me, I use a big charger, and
yeah, obviously a solar system.
yes, most definitely. I think right now,
which makes the most sense, because you're not going to pack a battery to every yard and therefore add more
Right.
expense
right.
to what you're doing.
So I think I've got about 11 yards now that I've got pretty much this setup in. So there is some money involved in buying all this and having it and maintaining it, but you lose 1 or 2 hives, it's paid for itself right there, and sometimes it might be a week or two before we go to a yard in between inspections, and a whole yard could get wiped out. So it's become a must for me to have these, and I really can't tell you I wouldn't have thought there would have ever been bears up here, and sure enough, they're here.
That's what gets us as beekeepers.
Right.
I've had an encounter myself at my home.
Yeah.
And lived right here local my entire life. Never see a bear.
Yep.
But within the last 4 to 5 years, we've seen an influx of these bears. Spoke with a authority at Game and Fish. They tell us that bear population, that bear restocking has been such a great success that the black bear has expanded its home range, in reality.
Yeah.
So as sows are bred and they start raising bears closer to population, they start becoming more prevalent, more obvious. People see them, and as beekeepers, we've got something in boxes that they desire, and I think it's safe to say forage low in the big woods. So you've got August, September, sometimes the mid of October, sometimes earlier than August. Things are getting rough for them.
Right.
So they're really looking. They're really maybe going a little further out of their way to find a food source. What really is it? The honey?
No, it's actually the brood is what they're after. That's what they want to get. They want to eat that baby bee larva.
Okay. So the honey's the proverbial icing on the cake.
Right.
That's not why they're tearing these boxes apart.
Right. You'll see the frames of brood, and they'll have claw marks through them where they've just raked them open and just devour frames and tear boxes in half and
Wow.
really make a mess of it.
So yeah, they could be demolishing the bee colony. They're tearing up woodenware, and like you said, for all intent and purpose, they're costing you money.
Sure.
You're not going to be able to babysit your every bee yard you've got every night.
No.
So you from your standpoint have picked as best you can the prevalent locations in which this could happen, and this is the answer.
It is.
That's your night watchman.
Yep. And I can guarantee that they work. It's saved a lot of bees for me in the past couple of years.
Very good. I just, it's another look into your world. You don't have all your bees in your backyard, obviously. And it's just one more thing that you have to use and continually think about and be proactive to keep the honeybees, right?
That's right. That's right. We'll do what it takes.
All right. Justin Lowe, Rural Route Farms. Justin, I dearly appreciate
Yes,
your
sir,
time.
Tom.
Thank you, sir.
Good seeing you.
Till we see you again, roll that beautiful bee footage.